The 6 founding members of the European Union want Britain to get on quickly with the process of exiting the bloc. That's according to Germany's foreign minister, who made the comments after hosting a crisis meeting with foreign ministers from the EU's founding nations, just a day after Britain voted to leave the bloc.
I don't think that Great Britain was setting an example for Europe. Listening to our own population, I think there is still a big majority which is in favor of Europe and European cooperation. But what the majority is expecting that Europe is delivering, and that was the reason why I was saying there is after this decision, after this referendum in Great Britain, there is no reason for hysteria on the one side or paralyzed shock on the other side.
Well, correspondent Jack Parrock for more on the urgent meeting.
It's been an interesting move between those foreign ministers of the founding countries. That's Germany, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg and Italy. They're the ones that are considered the most committed to the European Union project. We heard from the French foreign minister saying, in fact, that the UK must not play cat and mouse with the European Union. Generally, within Brussels, within the circles here in Brussels, the UK has always been considered to have the best deal of any of the other countries. They've had opt-out of justice and home affairs issues, immigration issues, never had to take the euro, never be a member of the Schengen zone. And there's some resentment towards that, I assume, between the other member states. But also, we did, however, hear from the German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier saying that we shouldn't be resentful to the UK. There should be a pragmatic removal of the UK, but they all insist, as they do here in Brussels, that this Brexit, this removal of the UK from the European Union, should begin as quickly as possible.
Meanwhile, Moody's has cut Britain's credit rating outlook to negative. The ratings agency says the vote to pull out of the EU will hurt the country's growth prospects and bring a prolonged period of uncertainty. Fitch is likely to follow suit. Both agencies had already stripped Britain of their AAA ratings long before the referendum campaign began. And Standard & Poor's has said the country's top-notch rating on its sovereign debt was untenable. Meanwhile, more than 1 million people in the UK have signed a parliamentary petition calling for a second EU referendum. Now, that's more than 10 times the number needed for the issue to be raised in Parliament. The online traffic temporarily crashed the House of Commons website. Now, the news comes amid data from Google Trends indicating a disturbing trend for online searches after the Brexit vote closed on Thursday night. The data showed that searches about what would happen after Britain's exit from the EU had tripled. The top question that saw massive spikes was, what is Brexit? Or what's even more alarming was the second top question, which many asked, what is the EU? Well, the data suggests that some British voters didn't really know what they were voting on in the historic referendum. On Friday morning, many were shocked when they learned of British Prime Minister David Cameron's resignation. During Mr. Cameron's announcement, Twitter usage in the UK was double its normal levels, with about 13,000 tweets per minute. Well, in Singapore, the British High Commissioner Scott Whiteman briefed journalists on the aftermath of the referendum. His message, the status quo prevails. He was asked if British companies will now pull out of the region.
For British companies who are coming to Singapore and see Singapore as their gateway to East Asia, just as Europe, London is the gateway for Singaporean investors to Europe. For those types of investors, they're looking at much broader criteria, and there are many attractions for British companies here in Singapore to set up in Singapore and use Singapore as a base. It's a very easy place to do business. You have a very transparent legal system. There's the familiarity with the rule of law. There's a very talented workforce here as well. And so that, Singapore and the UK in that sense are mirrors of each other and are natural partners, I think. And that's why there are over 1,000 British companies that have established presence here in Singapore, most of them using it as their stepping stone to the rest of Asia. And I think they are going to be just as attracted to Singapore in the future as they are now.